Welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What is up, everyone? We are here to talk about Survivor, the last episode of 40 Several. Not the last one, but the last one that just came out. I believe it was episode 9, correct?
Yes.
And we have a guest with us, Chardonnay Kaye. Introduce yourself to the audience.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Chardonnay Kaye. Your worst nightmare's worst nightmare.
Yes, because I know her because she is one of the prods in the Inferno game I'm playing. And some of the stuff they have made us do has been torturous. So yes, my worst nightmare's worst nightmare.
Yeah, well, welcome. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on the season because we've had some other guests and I've already kind of would know what their thoughts were of the season coming on. So I'm really excited to hear what your opinions are of this cast and what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's like jumping very crazy question, but like who are your front runners right now for the season? Because for me, and I've been the proud voice of one particular person who's winning the season, but who are like people that you think can win this game?
So I can definitely see Rachel winning. I think that she's getting the most obvious winner's edit. I think that she has done multiple game-changing moves, even from putting the rice in her pocket and the shot in the dark move from the previous episode. Um, Finding an idol in the tarp and just being so calm about it and not freaking out. And she's just so unbothered. Like the first episode when Andy tried to pull her to the beach and she was like, "This is not my problem. This is
Mhm.
not my problem. Keep me out of this." I just think that by the way the edit's going and by her popularity and even her receiving so many advantages, I think production wants her to stay and is pushing for her to stay. So I definitely can see Rachel as a winner. I can see Sue winning because I think Sue is in a very good social position. I know they tried to blindside her last night, but obviously
Mhm.
she didn't get any votes except for Saul, who went home. And I can see Genevieve winning because she's now pulled off two masterful vote outs, basically herself.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, even Andy could win. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, like he's getting that Emily flipping at it.
Yeah. I'm the voice of Andy right now. I called that Andy was getting a surprisingly good edit for the kind of player he is in like episode 4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think everyone got turned off of him after episode 1, but they really only are showing him negatively in like public things when they have to show like, oh, he did something bad here in front of everyone. Like we kind of have to show it. But like we're seeing almost everything through the eyes of Andy this season. Andy is really like saying like
He's a
this
fucking
is what
genius.
yeah, I know, and no one
Mm-hmm.
thinks he's a threat. Like he's at least going to be in the finale. Like he's at
Oh,
least getting
for
that far
sure.
without even being like ever
Yeah.
targeted until that point.
Yeah, he's not going home anytime soon. And like he pulled off
Yeah,
the Sierra move basically like himself.
yeah.
He was the one and and it was funny because in Sierra's confessional, she's like, "We're just dragging Andy along. We're just using
Yeah,
him." And then Andy picked up on that. Like he's
yeah.
not. Everyone thinks he's so like oblivious. I think he acts more oblivious than he is to lower his threat level.
Hmm.
But he's like, I know what they're doing. Like I don't want them to think of me that way. And then Sierra was like, "Oh, why did they vote for me? Like I didn't do anything wrong." Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like
Yeah,
it's you know
everyone who has dunked on Andy has like been blindsided like almost immediately
I know.
afterwards.
I
So
honestly love to see it, and I I'm somebody who can kind of relate because if I were on Survivor, like I'm pretty
mhm,
sure like I would have a moment like that, like at the first challenge. Like I have very bad anxiety,
mhm.
so I never put it past Andy to have that moment because like that probably would happen to me too.
Yeah,
And and he didn't quit and he didn't go home and I know a
yeah,
lot of people don't like him, but I was willing to give him a chance and just like let him recover, and I think he did.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Gabler edits of 43, where Gabler, his first episode, like he almost says he wants to give up. Like he's the, I'm just playing my shot in the dark, vote for me, like take me out of the game. And like, so everyone immediately was like, this guy's crazy. He can't win. He's doing this crazy stuff. But
I
then
don't even
like,
remember that.
yeah, I know, because then Gabler ends up he ends up getting a great edit afterwards, but we are all just like crazy Gabler. He can't do it. And I just feel like Andy's in this similar boat where he has this like what seems like a disastrous first episode, but then immediately his edit is just like kind of giving this winner's edit. He's doing the sexy librarian kind of like moving the hair
Yeah.
around and
See,
yeah.
you do use that phrase.
I did it for
I
you.
coined it.
I did it for
No,
you.
you said hero.
It is a
he did not
heroic
credit,
moment.
did not credit me for saying that. I said sexy librarian.
You get the
And
credit. I was referencing you.
He tried to correct me and said hero moment, more
It
Clark Kent.
it,
I'm
it
like, no,
was a hero
sexy
moment.
librarian.
It was the hero moment though.
But you didn't start with that when you were talking to Chardonnay Kaye. You
Yeah,
said
I was doing it as
sexy.
a reference. See, this is our dynamic. Okay, this is what you can expect from us this in the next hour.
Our dynamic. Remember how Prod made fun of my tahine salmon in the chat? That's every day with this motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I've been enjoying the season. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for the new era Survivor. I feel like it's been slowly building. I feel like the first few seasons of the new era was not great. But I've enjoyed 45. I actually enjoyed like parts of 46, like especially like the end game, the last half. And then I've been enjoying this like pretty much the entire time. So
Yeah, because I loved 46. Like I was like, what's gonna, and obviously the pre-merge of 46 was fucking horrible. It was like almost unbearable to watch the pre-merge of 46, but post-merge it was getting like old school messy, and I'm like, I need a really good season to top this. And like the first 3 episodes were kind of like a little bit boring, except for like the whole Andy thing. I mean, the premiere was really interesting, but like up until like the Keyshawn vote, it's kind of been like, like it's not that special. But now it's like really picking up.
Yeah. I think the Bonu, the 3 episodes, episodes 2 to 4, are unwatchable.
It's horrible.
No, it's just a train wreck that you just watch, and it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And if it's like, if you ever feel bad about your Survivor game, you just watch the first. You watch Jelensky. I'm a stan of Jelensky.
Oh, I love
Jelensky.
He's
so bad. Thank you, Chardonnay Kaye. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can't shit on bad players because I know that I would probably be even worse.
Listen, I think every season, I think the first boot should always be notoriously bad. I hate when like an okay or a good player goes out as the first boots. Like I want to see someone just completely just like tank their game and just see that story for that one episode, and that's what we got.
That's why I was mad that like Francesca got voted out first in Caramon, because a lot of the cast thought it would be funny to vote her out first again, and I don't think that, like, although she has the worst track record out of anybody in Survivor, I don't think that she's that bad of a player. And they put her with Philip twice, who obviously like they didn't like each other. So I think if like the cards fell differently and she were on it, like I don't know why I'm going off tangent, but I don't know why they put like fucking 7 Redemption Island players on fans versus favorites. They picked nobody from like Tocantins, nobody from Samoa. Like that was just ridiculous. But anyways,
well, it's because they were on the season with Boston Rob, and you gotta make sure that they can keep being like Redemption Island. Remember this season? I think that was actually Jeff. That was Jeff Pro's favorite season afterwards. By the way, was Redemption Island.
Why?
He thought it was the best season.
I mean,
it's just his bromance with Boston Rob. But
you do you.
I will say, one of the great things about this season, Kay, is that we start off with a draft at the beginning of
the always
season.
Have to bring this up
because it's funny. So Joe has destroyed me in pretty much every single draft except for the one for 39, where I chose that, Tommy Sheehan was going to win. And I won two others kind of based off luck. In this one, he was even ballsy enough to get Rome to mock me for my bad winner picks. And then Joe chose Rome to be his winner pick. So far, out of the 9 people eliminated, Joe has lost all but one person.
Yeah.
Wait,
That-
back up. What do you mean Rome mocked you? Like Rome himself?
yeah. I got a cameo of Rome roasting
Oh,
Ryan.
oh
Which
my
admittedly was
goodness.
funny. But yeah. So and it was funny was because every single person in pre-merge up to Rome has been eliminated on Joe's side. So he had, what was that, like,
I had
yeah,
John,
7.
TK, Aisha, Kashawn, Annika, Rome, and then I didn't have Tiana, so ha ha ha, you had Tiana instead.
Broke the
And then I
streak.
had Sierra, and then I also had Soul.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm down
His
left,
last
and guess,
person left.
yeah, my last person's
Go
not
ahead.
great either. It's Gabe.
It's not looking good for Gabe.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, that brings me joy because Joe always makes fun of me for being worse than him at everything. So when I excel at something, I have to. Also, you don't know the dynamic between Joe and I, so I think it's fun to tell that from like an outsider's perspective.
Yeah. I never make fun of you. I always root for the best of you.
You would have to hide every single video of this channel to prove your point.
I
We have
mean,
too many dedicated fans. And I don't think you can take the things off of Fair Play's channel either. So
yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. I think I'm nothing but a supportive friends.
when you want to be.
Uh
All right. But
okay.
on to this episode.
Yeah. Um so yeah, it's a lot of trying to loop in Sam and Rachel especially into what happens. Like that's kind of where we start, because obviously those two are the most left in the outs, freaking out that Andy flipped. And yeah, what are your thoughts, because the obvious move for everyone would just be to go after Sam and Rachel here, but it's clear that this cast does not want to do the obvious thing. They want to, make other moves. There's a certain player who I think made a really bad move this episode, even though it worked out technically. But we'll get to that where it is. But what are your thoughts on everyone still wanting to work with Sam and Rachel to a degree?
I mean, I think that when you have 2 people left out of a vote out of how many, like 9, 10? How many people are left?
9.
10? 9? Yeah, like, it's easy to like all band together and just pick them off, but at that point in the game, like you have to hear everybody out and they can be used as votes. And like Sam and Rachel have never really been aligned on Gata, but I think obviously at this point they didn't really have a choice. But
Yeah.
I mean I think that it's not necessarily like Sam and Rachel being the targets. I think they're worried that Sam and Rachel are going to blow up their plan for who they're actually trying to get out. Because I know like it's like basically Lava against Tuku, and I mean, except like the Sierra vote, which Andy did plan, but obviously if you're gonna tell like Sam and Rachel about Sierra, like they're gonna blow up the plan. So I think that that's kind of why they've been left out of the vote. So I think that at that point in the game, being on the outside is not a death sentence, because you could be just in the middle and be in a really good spot, especially like if if Lavo and Tuku are so distracted going after each other.
Yeah. I also think that they were level headed. Like a lot of people who after they get blindsided like freak out and it's like, why did you go for me? You ruined my game, and they like kind of lash out, and that's what really kind of isolates people to
Shut up,
just
Joe.
but yeah, no, both Rachel and Sam were like really good at just kind of like being like, hey, I get it, I understand why you guys made that move. I still want to work with you guys. That's always the plan that you should be going for
Yeah, because I
when you're
mean,
on the
if you're
outs.
gonna act pissed, if you're gonna act pissed at
Mhm.
somebody, they're gonna want you gone even more.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rachel still has an idol that nobody knows about.
No.
So I think they're in pretty good spots, even though like
Yeah.
on paper the odds are not good.
Hmm.
I think that they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing in that kind of position in the game.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And I remember episode one you had mentioned previously about like Rachel and Andy having that conversation and everything, and it felt like weird how it felt like they were kind of making them seem like they had some kind of relationship or dynamic. And then the next episode, it was Rachel and Annika. They were the duo that we were all suddenly supposed to believe. And now I feel like it was just setting up for now for Andy and Rachel to come together and now maybe actually play the game together. And I can really see them masterminding the next few moves.
Yeah, I mean, I I can see it working out and I can see it kind of falling apart because like they mentioned, like Andy has blindsided Rachel twice with
Mm-hmm.
the Annika vote and the Sierra vote.
Yeah.
And I can totally get why she might not want to work with him, but also you really in like end game, you have to consider everybody an option because you
Mm-hmm.
know you can have nothing to offer pre-merge, and then that same person can offer so much for you post-merge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I can see it going both ways. Like I can see them flaming out as a duo, and I can see them running the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Andy's also just kind of like the most important person right now to bond with,
Yeah.
in because everyone assumes that they can beat him in the end. So they're going to want to keep him in the game and make them feel like he's one of their close allies. So that way he also wants to get to the end with them. So whenever you have someone like that, you kind of want to gravitate towards, but in a weird case like way he could use that to essentially dictate how the game goes.
I
So
mean, but like the first episode when he said I was gonna throw John under the bus, and everyone was like, "What?" And I was watching, I was like, "What?"
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, "There's no way! Like that's the most obvious first boot I've ever seen." And then everybody unanimously voted for John. Like
Yeah.
Andy has gotten everything he's wanted so far. Every
Yeah.
single tribal
Yeah.
council, the vote went his way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like if he makes it to final tribal council, that's going to be his pitch where it's like, y'all underestimated me. But
Hmm.
here's A, B, C, and D. Even when I was supposedly on the outs and not regarded, I still made these moves. I was right on the votes, and I even influenced the votes.
Yeah, it's giving Christy from Australian Survivor a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah. We're both not huge Australian Survivor
I
Oh
people.
my
wouldn't
God,
I
you need
wouldn't
to
say
watch
I'm not
it.
a huge fan. It's just I haven't seen any of it yet.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh.
beat King George in an arm wrestling match though.
that is true.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, well, sorry for spoiling it,
You're fine.
but basically, Christy, she was on the bottom for the entire season, left out of so many votes. But then she had like one of the best final trouble speeches. She's like, I knew who was going home every single time, and then she won the season.
Hmm.
Um, So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what it's giving right now. Except I think Andy's even more in the loop and more in control than she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see a world where, he's at the end with, say, like Caroline and Sue, and they don't get as much credit for kind of how the game's shaping up. And, all of Gata votes for Andy. And then he also gets like Genevieve and Sol, who we have seen being kind of like supporters and liking Andy and wanting to work with him. And now suddenly, bam, that's 5 votes. That's enough to win.
I wonder if he can even get Sierra's vote
Yeah.
because it depends. I mean, I think I can see Sierra definitely as a bitter juror.
Hmm.
If she's not a bitter juror, like I think she'll vote for Andy in the
Yeah.
depending on who he's against. Obviously, if Sam's there,
Yeah.
then no. But
I think Soul might be the perfect person to go to the Ponderosa right now. I feel like Soul is going to have a positive view of Andy and like explain
Yeah.
to Sierra why Andy did what he did.
exactly,
Also, Sierra should know, like, you've disregarded the man the entire game,
Yeah.
used him not even as a pawn, but like
like made fun of it. Like
made fun
Yeah.
of it, you know, like just like you didn't respect him the entire game, and when he finally made a move against you, you can't be too mad. You
Hmm.
can be butthurt about it, but at the same time, it's like, well, you didn't treat him with respect, so he went with the other side.
I mean, that's just
What do you
karma.
think was going to happen? What do you think was going to happen?
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like no disrespect to Sierra. Like I'm not calling her a mean person, but it's like that's kind of what you get, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. It's yeah, we're gonna have to see. I definitely can see her being bitter, but I feel like in New Era, we're seeing a little less bitterness in terms of like the votes. It feels like you might get the occasional, but there's also a lot of dogpiling that ends up happening where just like everyone just kind of says this person just played the best game, and then everyone just kind of agrees with this.
Well, we've seen I've seen at least with the last two rounds, we've seen less of that with
Mhm.
the D win, being like a 5-3,
Yeah.
and same thing with with last season with the Mackenzie win.
Hmm.
I think it was just like a streak in a row where it happened, and
Hmm.
this was the time where they were like, "Hey, let's yeah," or like, and the last two times is where like, okay, we had someone that was like two people that were like pretty dominant, and it just really depended on where the jury wanted to go.
Hmm.
Um, so like this time around, whoever makes it at the end, we are halfway through. Um, and it really depends on, I feel like right now, I think it's more so about getting out the threats. I think once you get to like six and stuff like that, then you start to like really think about who um who can I win against and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And that's when you really want to zero in on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, okay. The next part of the episode, they all got paired into groups of two. They all paired off, and what were your thoughts on the pairings? Because it felt like they did not think about actually what was the most like even teams.
I mean,
Well,
they they've done this challenge with
Yeah,
like pairs. I think every single season in the new era, at least like
yeah,
since season 44 or season 43.
yeah.
yeah.
And I would think that as a fan of the show, if once you get to, it's always like the same point. It's always like final 10, final 9. And once you get to that point, you should know that like if you're divided up into like a partner or teams for an immunity challenge, obviously you all three people don't win immunity. You have to go against them. I would think that
Yeah.
they know that, but I also know that Survivor does have a lot of twists and you never know what to expect. But
Hmm.
I
I,
mean,
I Go ahead. Yeah.
what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, that was it.
Oh, well, I mean, my thing is like, yeah, there's always like a twist and stuff, but when you see something like this, it's like, and it's kind of like why Gabe and Kyle kind of like stuck together. It's like, it's best if I just like go with him, because if I still beat him at the end, I beat him. But like if I work with him, it could be a better thing. So like that's why I would say we saw a lot of like even matchups where it's like, well, if you're Kyle, you don't want to end up with someone who might be perceived as like weak.
Hmm.
Like you don't want to team up with someone that might you feel might drag you down. Um, and so I feel like the pairings kind of like go off that way. which is why we saw like two of the strongest people get together and be a team. Because like, yeah, I'm gonna go with them, so that way we can make it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, even
Um,
Andy and Sam, I think were really good. It's just they ripped the bag in that
yeah,
first. Like if they didn't do that, like they probably are going to be that second team by just how that first leg of the race was going.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
But yeah, no, the challenge, goes, yeah, Andy and Sam rip the bag. So then we end up with the pairs of Kyle and Gabe, Sol and Teeny, and then Genevieve and it was Sue, right? Those were
Mm-hmm.
those were the other ones to make it through. And I noticed that Genevieve and Sue definitely had the best strategy for how to build the stairs. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were
yeah,
like, let's see where the jumbo is because there's only like one of the biggest ones per puzzle piece, and we'll just use that as the basis to figure out what ones I need. Um, and it worked for them. They were the first ones to get to the balance beam. Unfortunately, they were very slow on that balance beam.
yeah.
Yeah.
What we can do. Also, what do we feel about how they kind of like structured it, where it was like, all right, first two team or last two teams, you can lose your vote, and then they had to go off and do like a whole other challenge. Like, granted, there was like it was really just one person was going to lose their vote,
Yeah,
but I think that was definitely something, and we did kind of see it play a factor into this tribal where it was like, all right, can we get the numbers to take out Soul? Can we get the numbers to take out Kyle? Can we get the numbers to take out, pretty much anyone on this tribe? Sue, freaking Sam. Everyone's name was pitched around at some point.
yeah. Um, Not a fan of losing votes at this point of the game, especially I did not really care for the game they played. I felt like it wasn't the most dynamic game to watch as a viewer.
I
Um,
thought it was cool.
I mean, first of all, like I saw a tweet and I haven't fact checked this, but I saw a tweet that said there hasn't been a tribal council where everybody had their vote since the Asia vote. Like
yeah,
somebody has lost their vote or played the shot in the dark every
yeah,
single time. And
It's crazy to think
I
about.
have mixed feelings because I do think that Survivor is a social game and like votes are very important. I just think that there's like too many, like there should not be
yeah,
somebody losing a vote every single time.
yeah,
But also
Fair.
like I get it, and like and in the Jenga game, like there was that part where they put the two triangles like off the edge, and Rachel was like, "What am I supposed to do?" Like there was nowhere for her to put her piece, so she had to move all three pieces. Like I think that's like
yeah,
that game is just very easy to screw somebody over.
yeah,
Like I don't know. I think that it's very flawed in that way. It's like if somebody else messes up,
yeah,
then you are more likely to knock it over. So
Yeah, but I
I
mean
just,
yeah,
but that's part of the strategy of that game,
yeah,
as well. And I think that was like I think that game was interesting. I also felt the location was interesting because I'm like, all right, I knew they wanted like a level place, but it's like it's in this cave. Uh they had to like build around the, earth for it for that like little thing because that is a game where you need like an even table.
mhm,
yeah,
Um so yeah,
yeah.
but
I would have liked to see more of a social thing. Like I don't know if it exactly doing it, but like I did like the 46 episode one, like game of like, are you telling the truth? Are you lying? Like I actually liked. I would have rather seen something more than that than just like stacking these things until one person falls.
yeah. I mean, I think they could have been. I mean, it seems very last minute, like very
Mhm.
like I procrastinated on this challenge, and I think yeah, like I would love to see something like that again, or like something more like strategic. And I get that
Yeah,
the stacking challenge is strategic, but
yeah.
I think that there could have been a lot more done with it. It was just very anticlimactic.
Yeah, exactly. It was like kind of disappointing when I
Yeah.
saw. I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is gonna take the next 3 minutes of screen
Like, I don't
time.
want to watch people stack blocks for 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, what they did with Asia and TK in the first episode,
yeah,
where they had to like race to get, I know they didn't lose their vote, but they had to race to get the tools, but it was still
yeah,
a journey. Like, that was
Yeah.
actually really fun. Like, when
yeah,
Asia tackled
yeah,
TK.
yeah,
And like they could have done something like that
yeah,
where they had to like race the jungle and like
yeah.
get shit and you know.
Yeah, or send them to edge of extinction and have them, take coconuts or wood up the hill, make
Yes.
them do that
Yeah.
again.
That I thought, I mean, the whole thing is like Jeff is like, oh, like in the new era you have to work harder. And then they give you like fucking Jenga. Like if
Yeah,
you have to work harder, you have to do like you do have to like do very physically demanding
yeah,
shit, you know.
yeah.
That's just my opinion though.
Yeah, what I
That's
would have
fair.
done in that situation, assuming that I was in like Caroline's spot where she's probably not going home, I would have purposely just lost my votes. I would have said, "Hey guys, I'll take one for you," and then at least build some trust with the people there. I don't know. I felt like playing the game out was the least interesting thing that could have even been done in this
I mean,
game.
that's kind of what they did though with
Yeah,
Teeny and whoever
mhm.
else went there.
Yeah,
Teeny, I think it was like Teeny, Rachel, no,
no,
Teeny, Andy, and
and Caroline.
Kyle. I
No,
think
no, no. It was Caroline,
it
right?
was Caroline.
Yeah,
But yeah,
It
like
was
they
Carol.
basically had to choose somebody to lose their vote, and then
yeah,
otherwise they all lost their vote. And
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I think even that's more interesting. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I just think that if you're gonna lose your vote, like something that's like very crucial, as we saw with Caroline,
Hmm.
because then they had to get somebody from Gata
Yeah.
in on their plan. Um, obviously losing your vote is very crucial, and I think the stakes should be higher
Hmm.
for something like that to like get your vote back.
Yeah. Yeah, and also like if there's like maybe the last person of the challenge or whatever loses their vote, but then like the person who does the best or something in whatever instance gains something. So now there's almost like this hidden like thing that one of them could potentially win. That's also can maybe add something interesting to it. It feels like there are ways to make this way better, but they just weren't implemented.
Mhm.
But back to the challenge. Kyle and Gabe were super far behind in building the stairs, but then the second that they got up those, they just like I literally I watched Survivor with a lot of like casual fans. And the second they were there, I was just like everyone was just like, oh, they're just gonna whip across this, and they did. They just went bam.
That's literally what my mom said. Like as
Yeah.
soon as I got up to the beam, my mom was like, "They're just gonna run across."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Might as well.
yeah, I mean, they're both very physical guys who, they know that they're kind of behind. Like, they don't have the luxury of slowly making sure they get across. They got to just go for it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I also feel
I
bad for
mean,
Sue. Her fall was looked very painful.
So did
yeah.
Saul's.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is like, especially if you're like, if it's like a race, like it's okay to take your time when you're at the beginning, or I would say when you're ahead. When you're ahead, okay, but like when you're behind, you just have to risk it for the biscuit because like me taking my time is not going to get me to the end. So it's like you got to do what you got to do.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. And then we got a challenge we see in pretty much every new era season now, of them kind of holding on to those little ledges. And yeah, I mean, it came down yet again to Kyle and Gabe. And I thought that Kyle was going to pull it through for a little bit. But yeah, surprisingly, Kyle was not going to win his fourth individual immunity this episode. Instead, Gabe pulls it out.
Which usually means like okay, because like Kyle's name has been thrown around a lot. Also with the um target of like, taking out old like Tuku members, it was like looking like, okay, Kyle is probably going out here because like if he wins again, we don't know if we're gonna get this shot. So yeah. But that
Yeah.
wasn't the case.
Nope.
I mean, I'm surprised because Gabe looked miserable the second they started, and Kyle was like very chill. And somehow I thought Gabe was still going to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had that willpower to pull it through. I mean, that last ledge though is like so tiny that even if you've been doing great up until that point, like if you can just hold out just a little bit longer, you know.
Oh
Yeah.
I have like an embarrassing
point...
story about that is I grew up in Illinois. I live in California now, but I grew up in Illinois, and whenever and like in my shower there were like two like little ledges for like the door and stuff, and I would like do that challenge in the shower.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
I would
like,
also do that.
My arms up and like, can I do this?
Yeah, hey, it's practicing. You know, you gotta practice somewhere.
And like the challenge with like the metal grates where they have to like be under them. I used to have a pool in my backyard, and I would like also like do that challenge. I was like 12.
Oh, so you almost killed yourself as a kid, like doing that. No.
Oh no, I know how to swim. Like I would tie knots, throw them at the bottom of my pool, and then I would dive down and untie them underwater. Like I was training.
Oh, that okay.
For Survivor. Like I knew how to swim. I took swimming lessons. Like I just wanted to torture myself.
Yeah, for a second I thought you meant the one where like with the grain and stuff, like you were practicing that.
One.
Yeah, last breath, last.
But it's like as a kid doing that, I was like, as a kid doing that, I'm like, say what now? Did your parents know?
Nope.
That was dangerous, and I
also trained myself to hold my breath underwater for 2 minutes.
That's pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
But obviously, maybe there should have been like a fucking lifeguard on duty.
Yes. When you're trying to, holding your breath, you can at least like pull yourself up. When you're under a grate, that's a little different.
I didn't use a grate. I used like pool noodles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the people who I was watching Survivor with, they have a 3-year-old kid, and it was just his birthday, and they got him a balance beam so that he can train to be on Survivor.
Oh my god, 3?
Yeah, he's 3 years old.
3 is crazy. I don't even like. Yeah.
They're training him that.
I first started watching Survivor when I was like 11, and my parents watched it forever, and I remember like. At first, I only wanted to watch the challenges when I was like a kid because I didn't have the attention span to watch them talk.
Yeah.
Just at camp. And obviously, like, that's where the drama happens. But I didn't care. I only wanted to watch the challenges. And I, like, remember when I was, like, fucking, like, 7 or 8 years old, like, watching Russell Swan pass out. Like, that's, like, a core memory. Like, I just remember watching that happen. And I was like to my parents, like, "Oh, is he gonna come back?" And I guess I manifested that because he came back for Philippines. But 3 is crazy because like I didn't even have the attention span to watch Survivor until I was like fucking 11.
Yeah, I mean he really does care more about the challenges. Like when challenges come on, he'll be a little more interested, but other than that, he's like going off and doing whatever. So it's just like he also, by the way, did not fully understand the balance beam for a while. He wanted to like use one leg on it and the other was walking on the side.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, on the side of like
yeah. So he was essentially
like on the side of the balance beam.
Yeah, but he got it eventually. He actually started going across the whole balance beam, and I was like, heck yeah.
I can't do that. I suck at balance. I'm actually like comically bad. I'm a clumsy bitch.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be okay, but I feel like when I am starving as they are at that point, I feel like I would be really bad at the balance beam, and I would be having my Suri moment out there.
Oh my god. They did her so dirty every single season she played, but
Yeah.
anyways.
She got her W in Traders,
Yeah.
which very impressive.
Yeah.
Finally. I was waiting for her to win because she deserved it.
That she did. Masterclass. I've talked about it a lot on this channel, but that was like perfect.
I'm rewatching Micronesia right now, and she basically like ran the entire pre-merge. Like she convinced everybody to vote like Joel over Chet, which looking back, because I haven't seen that season in a long time, and it's my favorite season, but I'm watching it with my boyfriend, and like looking back, I'm like, she really got everybody to vote Joel over Chet.
Yeah.
That's insane. And just like even with Eric and the necklace, it was like her idea. Like she's amazing.
Yeah. She wins the season if there weren't all those medevacs and they changed the format to be a final two.
Yeah. That was yes, Zuri just gets screwed over left and right. She has never left the game in a conventional sense.
Yeah.
Didn't she in Heroes versus Villains though?
She got idled out.
Idled out. Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, so she's never been like properly like, you know, like
majority vote.
Yeah.
Well, I guess like technically if you're thinking about Micronesia, you know, she didn't win, and so that person has the sole vote, and she was like fallen angel. But
but as we had just said, like it was supposed to be a final three that season. So like had that stuff not happened, she would have not been voted out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rob Goddess.
Yeah. Unfortunate. And honestly, most of those seasons she wins if she gets to the end, and she's like
easily.
Yeah. She would have easily won Game Changers. She would have easily won Micronesia. She would have easily won Panama. She didn't last long enough in Heroes versus Villains for her to like really play, but shit, she would probably beat she would beat Russell Hands.
Yeah, she'd probably still beat. I'd say like at least 80% of that cast. I feel like she beats like 80% of the cast if she's at the end. But I'm really excited to talk about this next part of the episode, specifically about Genevieve, because I think that she made one of the worst decisions for her own personal game. But you know, it's cool that she pulls it off, but I think it's terrible for her game.
I think it's like a task failed successfully moment.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh my god, because especially when they decided to tell Rachel about it, and I'm like, oh my god, no, because Soul gave Rachel the safety without power, and obviously she's gonna tell Soul, and it wasn't her, it was Sam that told Soul, but Rachel told Sam, who told Soul. So, you know, I think telling Rachel was like such a bad call, but I mean, Soul was unanimously voted out, so I mean, she did pull that off. I mean, it's like really interesting.
Yeah, it's impressive if her target wasn't someone who I think would have gone pretty much the distance with her. Like she has cut essentially the person most likely to want to get to the end with her, so her options for endgame have significantly dropped in my opinion.
I mean, she's getting a weird edit because she was purpled for the first 3 episodes. Like when my parents were watching, they're like, who is that? When she was on screen for like 1 second, and then she completely dominated the Keyshawn episode, and then was kind of invisible again up until now. Makes a big move, flops, but also succeeds. I just I don't know what to do with Genevieve. Like I really sometimes like some days I'm rooting for her, and then other days like she doesn't do anything. I mean and I want to see her succeed because I know her potential.
Yeah, I think her tagline for the season would be the silent assassin.
You
know, she's making moves but they're only showing her when they need to show her. Which is definitely a bit of an issue for her
Yeah.
edits.
And the thing is, Genevieve is my winner pick. Like I was like, all right, I think like she definitely has that potential and stuff. And when we've seen her, to kind of like expand on what Joe was saying, was like, yeah, we do see her make big moves and big things in here. But the fact is, it's not really consistent. It's
Yeah.
like she feels like a recurring character that they didn't want to blow the whole budget on. And it's like, okay, we're not going to include, her in each episode, just in the episodes that are important.
Yeah.
Heck, even when she was talking to when she was talking to Andy, a lot of that conversation, except for maybe one or two confessionals, was from Andy's point of view.
Hmm.
Um, so it's like, it's weird to make heads or tails of her confessionals, other than the fact that she's probably not going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like Rachel was my winner pick for a long time. And I think that when she was swap screwed and put with everybody on Tuku, it put her in a really bad spot because, yeah, she got safety without power, but that gives 5 people hours to think about what you've done in the game and like come up with reasons why you're a threat.
Hmm.
Like they're trying to like if you are on the outside, there's gonna be people who figure out like justifications for voting you out,
Hmm.
and that's just like not a good spot to be in. And I think that because that happened, like she definitely everyone sees her as a threat. Everybody knows she's likable. Everybody knows that she'll win a jury vote. So like I do want her to win, but I don't see them wanting to make a move on her. I don't see them not wanting to make a move on her soon.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. What I was really interested in was how also Teeny was in on the soul vote. I feel like Teeny is so weird right now because it felt like she was this power player in the first few episodes, and since the Keyshawn blindside, it just feels like even the Aisha one, like it felt like she didn't want to do that. It just feels like she actually has no agency in the game, that she's just kind of getting brought along.
Yeah, and like
Which
Teeny's
feels
even
weird.
getting like purpled right now. I feel like
Hmm.
Yeah.
I forget that she's there because like
Yeah.
she had such a big presence in the pre-merge, and now I mean I'm surprised that she also voted for Saul, but I feel like
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
on the wrong side of the vote, like not only are you pissing somebody off, but you also want to show potential new allies their trust. I mean, that's what happened to me in my
Yeah.
last org. Like my alliance voted me out so the alliance could build trust with other players.
Uh-huh.
So I get that logic, but I was
Yeah.
still like surprised.
Yeah, I think I know that she's a LRG and Org player, and I know that a lot of Org players they purposely don't really try to talk too much a lot of times and be really hidden until like the end game. So I wonder if she's trying to do stuff like that where she's just like, I'm not going to voice my opinion until like final six or final five and then make my move. But I don't know. I just feel uh like I don't personally I like it when players are a little more vocal about what they're
Yeah.
trying to go for.
Yeah, I definitely think Teeny is a finalist. Like, I don't see Teeny not making it to like final six.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
my guess is she goes out at 5 as like that. If we let her get to the end, she wins because
I see Teeny as fire making loser. I don't like
Mhm.
I'm not saying Teeny can't make fire, but I can
Yeah.
see her as like the like fourth place.
Hmm.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think she does have potential. It's just more so like, and I think you were onto something with it. It's like, I mean, Survivor, or I think like any kind of like these reality comp shows, is such a tricky thing because you want to add to your resume, but at the same time, you have to get to the end in order for your resume to mean anything. Because, yeah, make big moves and stuff like that. But if you don't make to the end,
Hmm.
then I don't want to say it's wasted, but it's
Yeah.
like more so it's like that's cool for your game, but like if you're doing it for your resume and you're not at the end, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whereas like, oh, okay, like if you just manage to like escape everything, all the crazy, all the big players that wanted to increase their resumes and you've taken them out and then you're just kind of there left. It's like, I did this. I took out, I took out the Andy. I took out the Rachel. I took out the Genevieve. Here
Yeah.
I am. Dab.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that I feel like the last two especially are people that Teeny would have definitely liked to play the game with further and would have helped her game.
Yeah.
And she just kind of said, "Okay, we're losing them." So yeah, I'm definitely curious about that.
Well, I think the tough thing was with that vote, and we saw that at Tribal Council, was it was live. Not everyone knew about it. They were even like saying in like the like when the sun was going down, when the music's starting to rise, and they're about to go to commercial break, is that I was like, we still don't know what we're doing. There are still questions. Once it's sundown, they go unanswered. And then you see them like talking, and then people are like, and they're like whispering when other people are talking. And when people are talking, they don't want to be rude to Jeff. At the same time, it's like, I want to freaking talk right now. And like, I know people are talking as I'm talking to you. Sorry, but like, it's like, Jeff, screw off. We need to strategize.
Yeah, my friends were super confused about what was happening. They could not make heads or tails about what they were hearing and what the plan was. Like, because there was just so many names, and it felt like in the last like 10 to 20 minutes before they went to tribal, just like every plan was being thrown out and no one knew. So it definitely made it, I think, tough for the audience to even understand what was happening because it was just complete chaos this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I'm honestly surprised that it was unanimous for Soul. Like the fact that there was that much like chaos, the fact that Soul got like 9 votes was a little like remarkable in the sense of like, wait, really?
Yeah, I thought we were going to get 3 votes. I thought 3 different people were getting votes. I thought Kyle was getting votes. I thought Soul was getting votes, and I thought Stu was getting votes. So surprisingly, yeah, no, the fact that it just was all a dog pile, even after all this craziness, is just kind of like, how does this work? How can you have this live tribal council followed by the biggest dog pile of the season?
I don't know. But it happened. What are your thoughts on that, Kay?
Honestly, yeah, I'm very surprised by that too, especially because people are whispering, I'm voting Sue. And then nobody voted for Sue. Like that's
no.
I don't know. That definitely surprised me. I mean, like I said before, I'm surprised that like even Teeny voted for Soul.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of like just like the like not easy way out, but it's like it's during tribal. Like you can't change a plan that fast.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Soul because I don't even really think this was his fault this episode. Like it feels like his ally made the wrong move, and so he goes home here.
Yeah, I mean he didn't do anything, and like Soul was somebody else who I was like really rooting for, and like I could see winning.
Yeah, his biggest mistake was he burps. I guess that was.
I'm gonna be honest, Joe. I'm surprised when you didn't bring that up when they're like, oh, the best part of the episode, and that was the burp off that they were doing, because I know that's your sense of humor. I was like,
it was good. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was funny them doing that, but
I was like, okay, I see where you're going. Let's continue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I feel bad for Soul. He was one of my favorite parts of the season, actually. His rivalry with Rome was hilarious. Like he was the perfect straight man to Rome's crazy character.
Yes. I mean, like him smiling when Rome got voted off was
the best
good.
Thing ever.
No. I would love to see both of them back for season 50. Put them on the same tribe again.
Because Jeff wants people who are in a good mood.
Yeah, joyful.
What does that mean? What do you mean a good mood? Anyways.
People can fake that too. Like sometimes I'm irritated, I'm
No,
smiling.
I want people who are pissed off. I want people who want to
Yeah.
dump the rice out. Like,
Yeah.
I want
Well, so that's
chaos.
why you cast. So that's why you cast me. Well, Joe, she loves chaos, so I guess you're a lock in for Inferno season 2.
Yeah, yeah. It's maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
Maybe.
uh but
But no.
yeah, no. I hope to see Soul again. I think he was great. It sucks that he's out this early, like especially as he was a part of my team.
Yeah. It there were some times where the thing is it's like I didn't. The thing is, Soul became one of my favorite characters, mostly because of like the dynamic with Rome, but also he was getting a lot of good episodes. Like,
Mhm.
he's the one that, gave Rachel that safety without power. He's the one who, was starting to also kind of like narrate a lot of stuff, build some bonds, and
Mhm.
he, like even kind of like become more of a main character. And then, yeah, for
Yeah.
him to like go out right here, I was like, man, just like right at the bitter end of like the halfway point.
He
Yeah.
was also somebody who was like invisible the first couple
Mhm.
episodes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I
His
thought like until the Rome vote, like I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's episode 4. He had like a skyrocket of an episode where he got like
Yeah.
7 confessionals, but up until that point, he had one confessional in episode 1, one confessional in episode 2, and 2 in episode 3. Like essentially, he also almost like Genevieve just gets this like skyrocket edits in episode 4. Um, but yeah, no, it's one of those things where I feel like he's so good, but him going out this early might make it him less likely as a returning player, which is going to be unfortunate. Because he
Yeah.
he wasn't like Rome, who was like, I'm going to dominate the screen time as long as I'm here, and I'm going to make this season about me until I get out. He was a little more low key than that.
I mean, Rome is iconic. I'm always a Rome
Yeah.
apologist. I think that like people who were like over the top, annoying,
Hmm.
insufferable, like people like Rome are what make the show. And
Yeah.
honestly, like I really wanted Rome to stay. I think
Yeah.
that like
He
I
was
mean,
entertaining.
there definitely wasn't a balance of screen time. Like Rome and Teeny were the only Lavo who got screen time until like episode 4.
Hmm.
But I think that like that's what you need characters, and I think that they're trying to cast like a lot of like you know everyday people, but I
Yeah.
think that like you do have to cast people for TV.
Yeah, I
I
know that they
feel
also
I
don't cast a lot of villains anymore. They
That
really
yeah.
try
sucks.
not to.
Well, I
No,
feel like Survivor casting these days, it's like you have to be either really ordinary or you have to have like an amazing story of like how you survived some crazy stuff and
Yeah,
you're a self-made person
yeah,
now. It's
no,
like
I,
there's
I
no
need
in between
yeah,
I need like
anymore.
fighting.
yeah,
I
yeah,
need like I need like a Courtney back, like a Courtney
yeah.
Eliza. Venus was the
Yeah,
perfect example. Like
Venus.
Venus was
Yeah,
like a Courtney-ish.
yeah.
like a
I
mirror
felt I
girl.
felt like
Yeah.
46. They went back to kind of like that kind of era. Like I feel like Q also like he was confrontational at certain
Q was
moments. Venus.
fantastic. One of my
Yeah,
favorite new era players. Like I'm being so serious. Like I
yeah.
loved Q was like one of those
Thank
like
you.
Mhm.
another like I don't want to compare him to Andy, but he's like one of those like secret genius players where like
Mhm.
he asked everybody to vote for him and then he changed the vote at the last minute and then Tevin went home.
Yeah,
I think it was Tevin. But that
yeah,
was like some like mastermind shit and everyone, you know,
yeah,
saw right through it.
yeah. Also, one
Have
of the
you
best
ever rocked
scenes
a
was
Q skirt?
the Q skirt.
I have.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I've been mocked for rocking the Q skirt.
No,
yeah.
I would I was like when that came out, I was like I would buy one.
Yeah. Also, one of the
I'll
best scenes is
support.
that hide and seek, where he's like, "I'm going to figure out everyone's strategy and gameplay from
Big
hide and
That was
mistake.
my
seek."
favorite. That was
You made
probably
a
my
mistake.
favorite episode of like Survivor history.
Yeah.
Big mistake. You gotta
It's a
go.
Uh, and
it's
the reason we get that scene is because we get 90-minute episodes nowadays. Like
yeah.
if that was an hour long seasons, like we probably don't get that. So I do
Yeah.
think that us getting more screen time is really benefiting these new
Benefiting.
seasons. Like
Agree.
I just love like the goofy moments like that. Like
yeah,
I think it's refreshing.
Yeah.
because like I'm trying to get my boyfriend into it. Like I am trying. I've watched like 4 seasons in a row with him,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "It's so boring when they do the talking," and I'm like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Why did they vote for this person?" You have to watch the show.
Yeah.
What seasons have you showed him?
So we started with Pearl Islands.
Okay.
Solid
And
one.
then we watched Philippines and then Caramoan, and now we're watching Micronesia. We started
Okay.
Heroes versus Villains, but my Prime subscription ended, so I have to get it again to watch it.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Yeah, I can understand like I love Pro Islands is like in my S tier, one of my favorite seasons. I could see
Yeah.
like that being a tough season for new people to get into. I did show my casual friends 45 and that actually got them into it. And they've gone back and seen like seasons that I think are like legendary, like Cagayan, and they prefer
Yeah, that's what
45
I
over
want to watch
Cagayan.
next.
Yeah,
I either
my
want to show him,
Yeah.
I want to show him Cagayan, and he was like, and he's really fucking smart because
Mhm.
he picks up on the winner's edit, and
Uh-huh.
he picks up on like the edit because he's like, oh, this person's talking a lot more. They must be going home, or that they must be a really important part of the vote, or like this person's getting winner's edit. And like you have not even seen the show before, and you're like he's like correctly guessing who wins
Mhm.
the season or who's the first boot. And he was like, give me a season where I don't predict the winner. And we played a
Yeah.
game where I
Samoa.
showed him group cast photos, and I was like, "Who wins?" And he correctly guessed Michelle from Korong, which is insane. And he was like, "I think she's gonna win."
That's
You cannot
wild.
be for real.
Yeah. I did the same thing with my friends. I showed them the 43 and my friend correctly guessed Gabler was winning after the first episode.
Yeah, oh my gosh, who did he pick from 43? I don't know if I showed him
I
43, but like I know from 42, or no, for 44 he picked Bruce as the winner.
we knew to steer clear. Also,
Yeah.
because like we saw the trailer and stuff. So for that season, I got to draft first. So that meant that Joe was stuck with Bruce as his ninth picks because we just go back and forth. Like if you see, I don't know if the camera will show it, but if you see here, this is our 47 draft.
Mhm.
So we kind of go back and forth. So he was stuck with Bruce at the end because he was the last one to choose. Joe had 5 people in finale, and I lost my last person at 6.
Oh my god.
Yeah. See,
So the
that's
fact
how
he
the world should work.
so yeah, I've had terrible luck at these things. Just a little fun thing to tell you about the history of these things. Also, Gabler was given to me by Joe because he was the last because Gabler was the only person left because I decided to go somewhere else, and then Joe's like, well, I'm not choosing Gabler, so I'm going to choose this, and then I'm like, damn it, I'm stuck with Gabler. Then he won, and so by just random luck, I ended up winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I did Fantasy Survivor for Blood versus Water, the first one,
Hmm.
and I was like, I think Tyson's gonna win.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know why, because Tyson, the last time Tyson played before that, he made like a really bad move.
Hmm.
He like switched his vote and then like basically
Voted
put
himself.
yeah, and but I was like, for some reason, I was like, I feel like Tyson is going to win this season. I can see it. I can see him
I felt
winning.
that.
Uh-huh.
And that was
Nice.
like with Mike from Worlds Apart. Um, who else? I predicted Adam would win before the season even started. Millennials
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
Gen X.
Yeah. I predicted him after episode 1,
He
actually,
just
as
looks like
well.
he just looks like a winner. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
just looks like somebody who would win Survivor.
Yeah. He has an
I did.
interesting winner's edit because it is like
Yeah.
it looks bad at
I feel
certain
like
points,
that
but it's so
season
good.
is like blocked out of my memory. Like there's like seasons that I don't remember, and it's like millennials versus Gen X, healers, hustlers,
Hmm.
Island of the Idols, obviously. That's like I don't know. I feel like the cast for all of those are just like so forgettable.
Yeah. Well, I think Island of Idols has a decent cast besides one person,
I
and
mean,
that's
yeah, but like I barely remember it. Like I don't even
yeah.
remember like even putting all that aside, it's
Hmm.
like it's the least remarkable season, I
Yeah.
think. Like in
Yeah.
terms of like iconic moments.
We definitely have a bit more of an attachment to it because that was the first season that we started this podcast on.
Oh,
I
was
really?
will
Island
also
of the
say,
Idols.
I will also say, it's hard to think of Island of the Idols and not think about,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So like I do feel like there is a lot of cast members there that do get outshined
Yeah.
because of it. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do feel like, Elaine, great character. I feel
Kelly.
like Kelly,
Kelly.
awesome.
Even
Janet
even
Yeah.
like
was
the
one of my
pre-mergers
favorites.
like Chelsea,
Hmm.
Jason,
Jason.
Yeah.
Lauren.
People like Nora too.
Yeah.
I'm like talking like in the
Yeah.
cast. Tommy Sheehan, I think, played a
Yeah.
very respectful game.
I
I
actually
feel like it was
I
a
like Dean. I felt like Dean actually
Dean, oh my
became
God, I forgot
fun.
about
he
Dean.
was
I'm
Yeah.
cool.
like Tommy. I'm like, what did Tommy do? I don't remember a single thing Tommy
He
did.
was
He
a
was a
pure
sleeper
social.
threat.
He was a pure social player. Like it was all
Yeah.
just about social
I
relationships
just
with
do not
him.
remember. Oh, Jamal. I loved
Jamal
Jamal.
was
Jamal
great.
was great.
Yeah, Jack.
Missy, I like Missy.
Yeah,
Not until she was like, lying
Yeah.
about certain
yeah.
stuff, but like,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, as we're saying, like, there's actually a good cast here. It's just because of a certain thing that makes us like want to forget about all these like players.
Even Molly, like the second boot, I
Yeah,
think, like everyone was like saying they voted her up because she was pretty. They were like, she's
yeah,
Parvati 2.0.
yeah,
And like I like would have loved to see her get further.
hmm
Like it
yeah,
like I don't know. I think I hate seeing that like squashed potential of a season.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's tough.
yeah. It also came right
But
before Winners at War, which I think everyone was like, "Please just let us get to that
Just
season,"
let it
because
end.
yeah,
yeah. Which by the way, I did predict Tony to win that season. I got Tony in Winners at War.
let's
I
see.
yeah, I don't even remember who my winner pick was. Wait. I think I picked Jeremy to win again.
It's not a bad
I think that's
choice.
a decent one. Was that who
I
you
picked
picked? Who did
Kim
you pick?
Spradlin Wolf.
Kim's.
I
Okay.
Kim
forget the whole
Spradlin
list.
flopped in Winners at War. I was really
I
surprised.
know.
Yeah.
I
She
know.
played such
Yeah.
a bad game, and then
Yeah.
she lost the challenge because she wanted peanut butter, and then she got voted out. Like
Yeah.
Cam,
Yeah. Well,
what are
listen,
you doing?
she played a great game in One World. Unfortunately, no one on that season was playing besides her and Troy Zan. And because it was just that, she just kind of got a
Steamrolled,
steamroll.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it was just so interesting seeing like the most dominant winner of all time just play like a very bad game in
Yeah.
Winners at War. At least from what I remember. I actually want to rewatch that season.
Yeah.
But
Winners at War
Dude.
is just so interesting because I mean, everyone essentially, besides one or two people, have to kind of play bad games because you're gonna see all these people go out pre-merge, and it's just like what they dominated these games. Now suddenly they go out there and
no. I mean
just
the boot order still makes me mad.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
It
like
should have been a
it's like
better
the
mix of
challenge 40. I don't know if you guys watched the challenge, but like the boot
mhm,
order of this season is has been tragic.
yeah. Yeah, boot orders make it all. And yeah, I just feel like there's so many of those old school players who we were really excited to see, and then for
yeah.
them all to go out in the pre-merge, and then just at least we got to still see them on Edge. Like if
Yeah.
occasionally getting to hear from them was nice, but yeah, definitely,
But like seeing people play that haven't played since like All Stars and stuff like that
yeah,
was like, oh sweet, we're getting to see, Ethan play and how does he play in a like, new setting, like in the new school
yeah,
Survivor.
Yeah,
Or like
Amber.
Amber,
Amber was like another great choice. Or
yeah,
like Yul
Yul,
Kwan.
yeah,
Yul is one of my favorite players of all time. And it was
Yeah.
like, I mean, he was the last, new old school contestant to be voted out before obviously Edge of Extinction kicked in and then Tyson came back. But like, you know,
Yeah,
it's one of
even
those things.
Danny. I never watched Guatemala, but like I don't know. I didn't like Danny.
Thank you. Okay, you're my favorite prod person
Good. You
now.
should you should go into the prod chat and just like at prod and tell
Yeah,
them that I'm your favorite.
I will now
Wow.
because
Danny
I
Boatwright is a legend.
Danny
I'm gonna
Boatwright gets a
spam.
lot of love for not saying stuff in confessionals when it's like, okay, yeah. But the thing is, I'm a big fan of
Screen time.
Stephanie. So like, when Danny won, I was irritated. And I was giving
Yeah.
Guatemala a chance. When I rewatched it, I'm like, okay, you know, it's a new time. Let me see if I still like it. And then I don't know if you watched the Marvel movies, but I had my like Star Lord moment in front of Thanos where I'm like, I'm watching it happen, and I'm like, no, no,
Oh
and
my
then I
God.
ranked
Yeah.
it low on my list. It is not the bottom, but I think it's number I think it's like fifth from the bottom or sixth from the bottom. I have to like redo it now, but but Danny winning just soiled the season for me.
I think it's an underrated season. I
I
think
have not
it's
seen that season. Like, obviously, like I know everything that happens because like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like a fucking nerd and I watch like Survivor videos on YouTube and like I go into like Survivor Wiki and like do my
yeah,
research. I mean, obviously, because I play orgs, like I need to
yeah.
know my Survivor trivia, but I actually have not watched the season through. And like I've seen so many clips. Like I've seen all the iconic moments, like ADD. Um,
yeah,
Yeah. I Gary Hogaboom is the first person to find a hidden immunity idol. Not the idol that we're used to seeing now, because you have to play it before you go to vote, but it's iconic moments
yeah.
there. I think
yeah.
Judd and Rafe are especially great characters who I'm so surprised neither of them got a call back.
Nobody
Really,
from God of
Rafe.
Oh, and I guess
Yeah.
Danny, but like
Yeah.
besides Danny, nobody like I'm not counting Stephanie because she's
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Palau, but like besides Danny, like nobody has been brought back from Guatemala, and that's like really shocking.
Yeah.
And like Rafe, I think, all right, I was upset when Danny Boatwright won, but I feel like if Rafe won that season, it would be a much higher season because I feel like honestly he was playing the best game. I think he was playing the best game of that season, honestly. I also feel like he is someone where he should be in the talks of like old school contestants of like, all right, this person I can say be in the top 10 of best players.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was good. But I mean, I just think the season's underrated. I feel like everyone likes to put it as like a bottom five season. And
I haven't really seen anybody put it as like a bottom season. I think it's very like middle bottom of the road.
mhm.
But I definitely need to check it out because like a lot of the old school seasons I haven't watched. Like obviously I've seen like Pearl
Mhm.
Islands, I've seen All Stars, I've seen Borneo. Like Australian Outback and like Africa, I heard are just very boring.
Yeah,
So like I don't even know if I want to watch this because I know everything that happens.
yeah.
Well,
I
I mean,
feel
I'd say you watch it just to watch it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do think, especially when you're used to the like modern game of Survivor, it's really hard to get people to watch some of those older seasons
Yeah. I
because
mean, even the hour segment, like when I'm watching Micronesia, I'm like, oh my God, like that felt so short.
yeah. Yeah, and I think these 90-minute episodes actually is going to make new fans who come into Survivor. I actually think that they're not going to be able to watch some of these older seasons, or it's going to feel weird to them, and they're not going because as I was saying, like I showed my friends Cagayan, they didn't like Cagayan. They
That's
thought
crazy.
they thought like these episodes were too quick because they had just come off of watching 45 where they got a lot more screen time. We got to kind of like develop. So like for them, it was like they thought Tony clearly is going to win the season because of how much screen time he was getting and how he was controlling the show. And things were just happening so quick that it was like, what's going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to rewatch Kaguya. You guys are making me like want to like binge watch Survivor.
Perfect,
Hell, sometimes
perfect.
I wish I could too.
I'm gonna buy Prime and Paramount Plus again. I just canceled my subscription. I'm gonna buy it again.
Perfect,
Just
perfect.
so I can
Yeah.
fucking
Definitely.
watch Survivor in my room like a fucking like a fucking nerd.
Uh, well,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, I'm actually I'm like a recent fan. Actually, I started in Millennials versus Gen X. That was the first
Oh.
season that I started. And yeah, I like binged like everything within
Oh
like a few
wow.
months. It was just like I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch like all these seasons now because I got so
Yeah.
addicted to it.
Philippines was my first season. It came out when I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what again, like I said, when I was like 12 to 13,
Mhm.
that's like when I was like at my peak. Like I had a Survivor Instagram. I mean, I do now,
Uh-huh.
but like
Yeah.
I did then when I like, and like a bunch of the survivors like followed me, and I don't know why I did this. I was fucking 12, but I would like take pictures of Jeff Probst and like distort them and post them. I don't know why that I thought that was like peak comedy. Um, and obviously like I have like my org Instagram, which is like I
Yeah.
do post about like Survivor sometimes, but it's mostly like shit posting and
Mhm.
but like I that was like and like I said, I was training for challenges. I like I like printed out the Survivor logo and I like glued it onto my journal. This is so embarrassing.
No, no, you are in a safe place. We talk about fandom all the time.
Yep.
This is a place where you can talk about Survivor. We love Survivor. We've all done stuff. I used to play Survivor with my toys. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I played Survivor with my toys all the time. No
Oh, that's
shame.
Yeah.
crazy because I had a phase where I was trying to get everybody into Survivor. Like every time I hung
Mhm.
out with my friends, I would like show them Survivor. And I would always
Yeah.
show them
Yeah.
Micronesia because that's my favorite season. Um, for the plot.
Mhm.
The
um,
plot.
for the plot,
The
yeah.
plus, yeah,
For the
yeah.
plot.
uh okay.
Was the plot
Well,
James and
James Ozzy,
It's a hot cast. It's a hot
it
cast.
is a very hot cat.
it is. My survivor crush was Amanda Kimmel, so
Me too, Amanda
yeah.
and Parvati, like, and I don't know, like that was like my bisexual awakening. Like, because
Yeah.
I feel I would watch that season and Heroes versus Villains like just for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like growing up.
Yeah. Okay, we're definitely going pretty long in this one. I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I didn't know how long it was supposed to be. My bad.
no, no,
You're
no,
fine. We're
it's
also
good.
like getting to like know you because like
Yeah.
I've talked to you a little bit in prod, but we've never like talked.
Yeah.
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 But I'm glad you're here now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
me too.
It's so interesting hearing like someone else's perspective on Survivor that I haven't heard before. Like it's
Yeah.
always so cool to kind of
Yeah,
like
no, I'm like glad to be part of like the org community because there's like
mhm,
finally people who watch Survivor and I can like talk to with because I watch it with like my
Exactly.
mom,
yeah.
but like my mom is like sick of hearing my shit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't like she watches it with me, but she's not like a like obsessive fucking weirdo fan like I am.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
It's fair.
Yeah.
But no, there's here. Also, you have to come down. Fair Play is having a party, a watch party for the finale. There will be 40 several people coming later in the night.
oh my God, when?
Uh,
It's in LA, right?
yeah, my
Oh my
friend
God.
Matt. So yeah, you're up in. I'm not gonna dox you, but like I know you're driving distance from that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Can you like send that to me? Like send me like the invite.
Yeah,
If
I
it
need
is it
to.
like on a Wednesday, because I'm gonna have to get work off.
yeah, it's they're
It is a
usually
Wednesday,
yeah.
but like at the same time, have you ever been to a Bryson Wynn or any of those?
No, I've been like dying to go.
You now this is the moment.
I'm calling out. I'm calling out. I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. I'm
Thank
calling.
you.
I hope my boss isn't like watching this.
I
I'm not
think
calling.
this is It's in like December 13th. So like
Oh, that's coming up. Yeah, I will definitely find somebody to cover my shift because I want to go
yeah.
so bad. I went to the challenge event in LA for like
Yeah.
season 40 and I got to meet like a lot of the cast and that was like really
It's so
fucking cool.
fun. Oh
Mhm.
And
yeah.
I mean, are you gonna go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Also, Fair Play is like kind of my boss too. So
Seriously?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we we work for Fair Play.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
we make content for the Reality After Show, his YouTube podcast
Oh
network.
my God, that's so cool. I will definitely like try I will get somebody to take my shift like with forcefully. I will
Mhm.
threaten to get this shift off.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it. And also we can meet
Nice,
IRL.
nice.
But yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
No, I will tell you a story after the cameras are off because I've already told this story to people on here before, and we don't like talking about it anymore. Except for it's a cool story in the moment. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so back to the episode.
Uh-huh.
We do have a tradition. We talk about stream time. We value screen time here on the Day After podcast. It's confessional count.
Yep, yep. So here are the confessional counts after this episode, starting with the person who got eliminated first. Soul goes out here with 33 confessionals. He got 7
Good
this
chunk.
last one. So yeah, I mean, still, a decent edit for going out where he is.
It's less than Banu.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep in mind that that's the metric. Like, actually, you have to get more than Banu in order to have a good edit.
I'm out of line, but I'm right.
Who has more and has the most of the season so far is Sam with 56 confessionals. He had 11 in this last episode.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In episode 2 he had 16 confessionals. So he like has kind of these two big episodes where he just has like a crazy amount.
That's crazy that on episode 2 he had 16 confessionals when his tribe didn't even go to tribal council.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then tied for second here we got Andy and Gabe at 44
Gabe?
confessionals. Yeah, Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe? Oh my God. I thought Gabe was like one of the more like invisible character players.
He's
A little bit.
yeah, he's I don't know. I feel like him and Sue seemed like a thing for a bit, and then it seemed like Sue and Caroline, but Gabe kind of has always still at least gotten an okay edit, even when it seemed like he was
I
Yeah.
thought it was
less
either going to be
important.
like Teeny or Rachel,
Mhm.
like
The
tied
thing
with
is,
Andy.
I feel like Gabe, he has a decent edit, but I don't see the winner edit just yet. There was never a
No.
moment where I was like, he didn't have the sexy librarian moment like Andy did. And I feel like with
Yeah.
Sam has potential to be a winner. It's just more so like it's like, okay, we're seeing a lot of things from his point of view. And like, I do see, like, sometimes you see a journey of how he's on top, then on bottom, losing his number one ally and stuff like that. Whereas
Mhm.
with Gabe, it seems like it's been kind of stagnant the whole time. Uh, I would say, like, yeah, he made the move on TK and stuff like that, but it has been kind of like narrow. And like, his only other big plot point was the whole Tiana thing. And
I mean,
that
that
kind of
was
just
kind of like irrelevant to the season, anyways.
a
Mhm.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like in terms of like the big scheme of things, because like Dooku
Yeah.
never had to go to tribal council until the merge
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
after TK, obviously, but
Yeah. I will say you were correct with Rachel is now the next most with confessionals at 39, followed by Teeny at 38. So they
oh my
were
God.
right there next to each other, but a little bit behind Andy and Gabe.
Yeah.
Um, and then next up we have Genevieve at 30 confessionals.
Nice.
Yeah, she got 7 this last one, so she had one of her random shoot up episodes. Then next up we got Sue at 28, followed by Kyle at 24, and then Caroline at 21.
a lot of people with less confessionals than Bonnie at this point. So it's
Yeah, there are still people out there, by the way, who think Caroline is winning this game, and I just go, how? Like, if she's winning the season, you'd imagine that she would have a better edit. It just feels
yeah,
I mean,
like
Erica.
oh, they production and Jeff has even said that she had a bad edit. Like they actually reshaped 42 because they realized how bad of an edit they gave Erica. And even then, I feel like Erica said she was going to have that like lamb to lion storyline early on, and we haven't really gotten like that's like there's a very specific
Yeah.
reason why Erica got that specific edit.
Oh yeah, and then going
yeah,
back to our conversation earlier, like I predicted Sarah was gonna win Game Changers because her first confessional, I don't know if it was her very first, but episode 1, she was like, "I'm the silent assassin," and I'm like, okay, that's some shit like a winner would say, and then
Yeah.
she did win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Usually the winner has a winner quote in either one of the first, in either the premiere, sometimes like the merge, they might have the random like winner quotes. But I just feel like Caroline hasn't given us that. Like we've checked
yeah,
in on her, but it never feels like an important check in. Even it's like, oh, she knows Sue as the idol. I'm going to keep that a secret. Oh, I lost my vote. I wanted this to happen. I guess that's not going to happen. Um,
yeah,
it always feels like those are the kind of like the things we're checking in on Caroline.
Yeah.
yeah. Ooh.
Okay,
All right.
on to our last segment of the podcast. We do MVPs and LVPs. So, let's I'm going to give LVP. I'm going to start here actually, and I'm going to give it to Genevieve. Because even though she pulls it off, I really think that this is like how you ruin your game of Survivor is taking out someone who wants to get to the end with you at 10th place. If she did this move at like 5 or something, I would say, you know what, that makes sense. Like, you don't want to get to the end with your ally, but it is way too early to be making this kind of move.
For sure.
I think yeah, and I think like sometimes when you're in that late merge, sometimes you get like big move itis, and it's just like you just kind of want to do something. We'll see how it pays out. I would say like I wouldn't give her LVP because she got her target out. Granted, it was messy, but she still succeeded. Um,
Yeah.
if I were to give LVP to anyone, I think I'm actually going to give it to Caroline. Just she kind of lost her vote. I don't necessarily people did like bad gameplay. It was just more so like messy. And I feel like Caroline didn't. She just didn't perform well in the challenge. She lost her vote in that other challenge. Because I feel like when everything is so chaotic, when anything is so messy, it's hard to like truly blame someone. At
Yeah.
least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I just feel like Caroline, like, I think a neutral event happened for her this episode. Like, sure, she lost
Yeah.
her vote, but I don't think she minds soul going. I don't think that impacts her game at all. I actually think it might have been bad if she wanted to get Kyle out. I actually think that's not like maybe she should maybe think about keeping Kyle because of being that shield, and I think he is totally down to be 2Q strong for a good chunk of the season. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like Genevieve just by far made the blunder of the episode.
It's
Okay.
fair, but all right. Chardonnay Kaye, what is your opinion?
Um, I'm also gonna give it to Caroline because like I like even if Genevieve made a bad move, like we haven't seen what's going to like what the consequences are just yet. And
Mhm.
I think that she is a very smart player and she does have the potential to turn it around and capitalize on it. So, you know, while it looks like a bad move on paper, we actually haven't seen the results of what it would do to her game. So I think that like I agree with Ryan that like there's not really like a bad player this episode, but I mean I think that like I think I'm just gonna go with Caroline as well.
Nice,
Okay,
nice.
okay. What about MVP? Who you guys got for MVP?
You can go first, Kay.
I am gonna give MVP to Andy. Because he really tried to to solidify his bond with Rachel. Actually, I'm gonna give MVP to both basically all three Gata members because I think all of them had a really good episode.
Mhm.
Um, like Andy tried to rekindle his relationship with Rachel, and I think that Rachel and Sam basically stirred the pot a little bit to keep themselves safe, and um, they caused chaos. And even though like Soul did go home, I think that they did plant seeds that would have Lavo going against Tuku in the future.
Mhm.
Because now Sue is on the chopping block. Um, not Soul. Kyle, probably Gabe, and like Teeny's a sitting duck, and Genevieve. I mean, I don't even know. I can't even like get a read on Genevieve, but like I think that they did a good job of taking the target even more off their back because not only did they take the target off their back, but they solidified trust with their new allies and that they are valuable. So I mean, I don't
Mhm.
know if you can give it to three people, but I think that like they all did a really good job this episode.
You're the guest, so you can do whatever you want with your MVP.
I've done crazier shit with my MVP and LVP.
Yeah,
Sometimes I was like MVP is production, or
yeah.
I think
I
I'd have
gave
to look back.
LVP to production for the Hourglass. I said that no
Yeah,
one else deserves the LVP besides production in that episode.
and I think for the like I think for like Rome's elimination, I didn't even give Rome LVP because I'm like, this man got to sit where Jeff Probst did.
Yeah,
Like the man ate that night.
yeah.
Uh, but no, I will give MVP actually to Gabe because Gabe finally pulled a W over Kyle and stuff like that. And I feel like he definitely had a big target on his back. His name has been discussed pretty much since I would say the beginning of like Mergatory. So I feel like the fact that he finally got safe one round is a big victory for him.
Yeah, I was also going to give it to Gabe. He did seem like he was going to be brought up, and so winning immunity, obviously, huge for him and his resume.
Yeah,
So I mean, I still don't think he's winning, but I think at least it's that good notch in his cap for being able to make it to single digits of players.
yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Well, I think that comes to the end of this episode. Chardonnay Kaye, do you have anything you would like to plug here at the end?
Bye.
Okay, well, perfect ending there. Okay, well, yeah, that wraps it up here. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.